The identity of the anonymous accuser who alleged SA against Saberspark last month has been revealed, and she did a sit-down interview with a couple YouTubers in the community who have been covering this story. And that accuser is EmuEmi, a voice actress and Sonic YouTuber with over 100,000 subscribers, most known for her series Sonic and Tails R, a fan-made audio series based on the Sonic characters. However, Emmy has a controversial past of her own, with her most well-known controversy probably being sleeping with the voice actor for Sonic while he was married. And this interview covered that and a whole bunch of other dramas of hers, but they also somewhat dove into the Saberspark allegations, with Emmy claiming that this alleged incident is something she's privately talked about since immediately after it happened. Welcome to the internet versus EmuEmi, Saberspark's anonymous accuser. It started when a couple weeks back there was a document written theorizing that Emmy was the accuser. I think this document is still relevant even though her identity is already out there, as it shows she was a real person and that she really was at this event at the time, even interacting with Saberspark on occasion. So to get into it, the document starts off by saying, Saberspark allegations evidence. This doc will start off showing evidence that the allegations against Saberspark have some credibility to them. It does not confirm the incidents happened, just that both Saber and the accuser were at these locations on the dates stated. I will then address the alleged victim's own past allegations. This is all public information. Do not harass anyone in this document. The anonymous accuser is EmuEmi. They are 31. In 2012, 13 years ago from now, they would have been 18, which is the age of the anonymous victim at the time. They have interacted publicly with Saberspark. They have photos with Saberspark at the location stated. All friends of the accuser have EmuEmi in their friends list. Context: Saberspark was a frequent con attender in the past. He still attends cons today, but most in the past were Brony related. I have the timeline of his visits from around the dates of the incidents, but I will only go over the Canterlot Gardens Con and Equestria Los Angeles Con, which is where the alleged incidents occurred. Then they list some friends of Saberspark, and then the friends of the accuser, EmuEmi. Then we go to the first incident of Canterlot Gardens. This con occurred from September 27th, 2012 to September 30th, 2012 at Strongsville, Ohio. On September 14th, Saber made a response to a deleted post from Emmy at 2:10 a.m., which is this one here on the right where he says, hush now, quiet now. Then they say, no idea who Emmy's other tweet this day was addressed to, but I assume it was Saber because according to the accuser, they had been talking for a while. Was tweeted at 3:41 p.m. And it's Emmy saying, I am so yours for the taking. Then on September 19th, Emily posted a YouTube link that tagged Saberspark. The video is now unavailable right here on the right at Saberspark with a YouTube link. Then on September 27th, traveled to Ohio and streamed with Draft and the Guys on Everfree Radio, which is Saber saying he had an awesome time at Canterlot Gardens, talking about it landing, he's at the airport, and then the stuff with Everfree Radio. Then EmuEmi posted a pic at 2:58 a.m. Location of the pic is unknown, most likely their own room for the con. Shirt in the background is suspect though, I may be overthinking it. And then we have a picture of Emmy here on the side, sitting on what looks like to be a bed here. Then on September 28th, Saberspark did floor coverage of the con, also hosted his first panel. This is the day the accuser said the incident happened. Over here on the right, he is saying day one of floor coverage, he's doing more floor coverage for Canterlot Gardens. Saberspark publicly interacted with Emmy on this day from Twitter at 11:35 a.m., which is right here where Emmy is saying woohoo, Canterlot Gardens is rocking, and then Saber says, I think I see you, adding her. And then another tweet here about how he hosted his first panel. Then on September 29th, there is the Brony breakdown panel, which he also talks about here. Then on September 30th, Saberspark had a meal with some friends and staff. And the document says it should be noted that for this con, Saberspark and Paleo shared a room. Then we have the second incident location, Equestria, Los Angeles. This con occurred from November 3rd, 2012 to November 5th, 2012. Saberspark's friend AC Racebest created vlogs detailing their time at the Equestria LA con. They have a lot of videos of them attending other cons and doing other things, but I will only list the videos related to EQLA Day 1, November 2nd, 2012, which is when the alleged incident occurred. This con was at the Anaheim Convention Center, and the hotel was the Anaheim Hilton Hotel. Then they link all of the vlogs here. The accuser has said the incident occurred at night on November 2nd, 2012, the day before the convention. Saberspark spent this day at Disneyland with Dusty, Michelle, Screwball, AC Racebest, and Final Draft. At night in Day 1, Part 3, Race drove Saber and another back to near the hotel where they met up with Dusty again to grab something to eat. At 7:53, EmuEmi is shown hanging with the group. And here is just a short clip of that timestamp. This girl here in the blue and black top taking a selfie is allegedly Emmy. The document continues, November 2nd, Saber hung out with Dusty and others before meeting up with Race case later in the day as shown in the videos. At night, they ate with Emi. Emi spent the day with Sandra before meeting up with Saber. And it's got tweets of Saber hanging out, going to Disney World. More pictures. This is Saber taking photos with Dusty and others. I forgot how terrified I am of roller coasters. Wishing Race Best a happy birthday. And then over to Emi, she says, look, it's Sandra right here. And more tweets, gotta find final draft DFR. Someone replies, and now I just need to see a pic of you two with Saber and Paleo and my life will be set. Someone else says, finally the Pegasus sisters unite. Then on November 3rd, Saber's talking about how his voice is gone, his phone died at Disney, saying today is awesome. And Emi also tweets at final draft DFR, this face. The document continues on November 4th, the EQLA panel videos playlist, and Emi posted a pic of the Everfree crew, unknown if the plaid shirt is Saberspark. And there's some Sabers tweets saying, missing my bros, Bob and Jax, wish they were here. It's a new day. Looking through the audience at the BronyCon at dog screening, and I see Hot Diggity Demon's glorious hat, magnificent bastard. And we have this picture that Emi posted of the crew who was in the videos that we looked at earlier. And this is the plaid shirt, unknown if that's Saber. On November 5th, more just unrelated tweets about being at the con. And the document jumps into extra saying, May 8th, 2012 would be the earliest interaction between Saber and Emi publicly, where he adds her saying, thank you, I try my best. And December 10th, a month after the EQLA con, possibly unrelated. A month afterwards, Emi is saying confidence level dropping. The doc says, note that what I've shown from the cons only proves they were indeed at these locations together. It sucks that they came out right as Skype died and have no screenshots of the messages between them from Skype, which is strange. Their tweet on September 14th also does not help their case. Then we have this post from Casey, which we already read on part 1 of this series. And the document writer says, I was just going to stop at confirming that Saberspark was at these locations, but I had to explore more after these accusations came in. Specifically on Casey's accusations of the alleged victim, not of KP. I believe that the reason Emi wanted to stay anonymous is not because she is afraid of being doxxed. She is already a well-known internet figure. I believe that they wanted to get the accusation out on Saberspark without her past sullying her name and credibility of the accusation. And again, for this next part, this seems to just summarize some of her controversial past. If you want to see her side of the full story, again, I would recommend looking in the description and watching the full 3-hour interview. But this document writes out context. I did not spend too much time going into every single little detail. I will list the main horrendous acts that they have done and link to one of the many sources on the subject. I will be going back and editing this section with links to proper explanations and evidence. It will take a while. EmuEmi/Emily Jones has committed adultery with Ryan Drummond, former voice of Sonic, in 2016, lied about her mental health to her fans and made GoFundMes for herself, which usually always occurred while she was on a vacation, lying to use her fans' money to fund her trips when it was supposed to be for therapy for her, harassed a cancer victim, stole an artist's work, Sparks channel, profited off that work, gave no payment to them, tanking their mental health, purposely used her loyalist fans to harass and sabotage people she has issues with, even attacked one of her own because she didn't want them reviewing a certain Dr. Phil episode. I did not look into I Like Impossible a Lot's allegation about making a false R claim, but if you want to, feel free to do so. The Queen Falls, Emily Jones/EmuEmi exposed. Video with screenshots and evidence. There's many other videos on Emi out there, but this is what I watched first. It is more recent. More extra Pegasus Sisters live stream with these photos attached, and the rest of the document appears to just be speaking about the document writer having interactions with the fans of Emi, not necessarily super relevant to the Saberspark case. But again, it's linked in the description if you want to check it out. Now, this whole document plus Emi accidentally leaking her identity via a Dropbox link is what led to her doing this interview, I believe, personally. Now, to be transparent, this interview is over 3 hours long, and a majority of it is about Emi's long history unrelated to Saberspark. There is a 20-minute section dedicated to Saberspark, however, which I have reviewed and summarized the important points down to about 2 minutes. But the full interview and relevant timestamps will be linked in the description. I may do a full breakdown of all of Emi's history. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But this video will stay specifically relevant just to the Saberspark accusations. As for the quick interview summary, it starts when Lazy, the interviewer, asks Emi, when is the earliest you decided to open up about this? And Emi responds by saying immediately after the incident, she called her best friend, not really anybody else. She eventually told others and future partners, told a friend here and there over the years, and she would get upset every couple months. Lazy then asks what was the decision to come out publicly, and Emi responds that it's trauma in relation to being taken advantage of generally. There was another incident that happened in a public space recently, totally unrelated to Saber, and she self-reflected that she hasn't tried healing. She still gets triggered and disassociates out in public, and she's tried to ignore it and survive it for years. But recently, the Black Griffin stuff has come up in the last few months, which Saber was involved in and defending, and that triggered her. She compared his response to her own interactions with Saber, and this led to her friend Amy suggesting that she should speak up, and this Amy person is the one who connected her with Brony Fandont, who then connected her to I Love KP a Lot. Lazy then asks any reason why KP specifically? Was it related to Saberspark and her interactions with Saberspark? And Amy says yes, it was related to Chris, the editor mentioned in Saberspark's response and KP's interactions with him, but she didn't have that context until she spoke to KP. Lazy then says that because of KP's video fallout, there are people who believe that you are fake or don't exist and you're crafted by KP/Brony. EmuEmi says no, she's a real person, but she doesn't blame them as she wanted to be anonymous because she didn't want harassment. Lazy then continues that Saber says in his response that it's a giant hit piece, asking Emmy, what do you think of Saber's response? And Emmy says from a fan perspective, it's not good. It doesn't go into it. It's implied I'm a manifestation of Brony/KP. And Lazy says that she agrees, it feels like Saber's poisoned the well. And Emmy replies he just said, yeah, it's false and that's it. The interviewer continues to comment that he's just addressing KP's problem, not your problem. Speaking to Emily, he might be working on lawsuits and so it's for legal purposes. It would be easier to sue for defamation if you didn't exist, but you're real. And even if you don't stand by how the testimony came out, you stand by the story itself. And she responded saying that, yeah, that's possible. She doesn't stand by how it was released, but she does stand by her story. Then Lazy asks, what did you want to happen to Saber? What was your end goal? And Emmy says, there wasn't really a goal with this. It was more of a personal thing to prove that she can speak up about something. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She honestly was hoping that he had reached out in an email or something and apologized privately. Lazy then asks, would you be interested in talking to Saber one-on-one? And Emmy says that she wouldn't be comfortable speaking a voice to voice, that she would be anxious, but email or text conversation she would be willing. He can't take away what he put her through, but she believes people can better themselves, and if he was genuine, he would want to make it right, and she would welcome it. Lazy also said in this interview that they personally believe just because Emmy has a controversial past, that the allegations against Saber shouldn't be immediately dismissed. Then Brony Fandont, the person who posted the original allegations from Emmy when they were anonymous initially, who we've also covered on this channel, makes his own post saying, I'm not going to pretend it doesn't bother me when people say things like Bonk ruined his credibility, Bonk being another name he goes by, and he continues, it does. I've never lied. I've done a lot to make sure I provide as much as I can whenever I'd make a claim. I've never done anything to lose credibility. I was called a liar and told to end myself by many. It led me to BS, and it led me to post things I wasn't given permission to post. They were truthful. The person I hurt by posting them was the person who trusted me to keep it to myself. No one else was wronged. But it doesn't matter. People act like it made what I say questionable, even though that's nonsensical, and I doubt there's a way to get these people to realize that. You can't out-reason unreasonable. It's why proof of anything gets dismissed anyways. All I can do is remind people that claiming things I've said is unreliable does nothing but help the people who have gotten away with hurting people for years. You aren't being nuanced, you're repeating others without reason. I have no reason to lie, so I haven't. People called me a liar from day one, years ago, calling Gabriel Brown out on what he did with Claire and his racist posts. In that time, I've only been proven more correct. More and more was found, and people who didn't understand started to. That led to real consequences for him for the first time. It led to victims coming forward. It led to Sabers feeling confident enough to as well about someone who wasn't even Griffin, and a documentation of so much that was forgotten prior. I knew my limits emotionally. I am good at what I do, but I can't always handle the worst of people targeting me, so I wasn't going to cover Saber at all. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I did not feel like I could handle another big person like that. Saber's victim was not hand-delivered to KP by me like people pretend. I knew KP had valid personal experiences relating to Saber and had told me she was working on a video, so I suggested it to the victim's friend, who suggested it to the victim, who willingly chose KP. There were real reasons to believe KP would handle it better than she did. Blaming everyone who didn't work on the video for how the video turned out helps no one, and it isn't reasonable. And it's important to remind people that while the video was bad, it wasn't untrue. She buried the most important information. She made so much of the start about herself. It was stuffed with bad, poor taste memes, and some of it was petty drama that shouldn't have been included. But the video didn't lie. Like I said, I didn't think I could emotionally handle being involved. It was pushed onto me anyways, and not by the victim. But because I wanted to help the victim, I went along with it. I don't regret posting her testimony. I believe her. I only regret it being KP's design. Once people turned on everything due to Saber hand-waving it away without even giving a single ounce of evidence, I was harassed. Did I handle that harassment amazingly? Obviously not. But it was harassment, unwarranted and extreme. I don't know why some act like it was me. I'm not asking for your sympathy. I'm asking for you not to use my S attempt as proof I'm a bad person. That's fucking insane. Then he goes to comment on the Enter video by saying, I will be talking about the Enter videos later today. I thought one of them was good, I thought the other wasn't. This post is just to give advance warning that I will be critical, at least wait to hear why. And then he follows up his post saying, I was asked not to for now. I won't be. I'm sorry for those who wanted to hear my thoughts. Maybe I will in the future, but I'm not doing so good right now and need time to think. Then over on our YouTube drama, Call Me Freak posts Mr. Enter's video video on I Love KP a Lot and Saberspark has been uploaded, which is the whole interview along with the other video that Mr. Inter made, and he summarizes by saying, "Other posts about the video have been taken down for not providing any context, so I decided that I'll make a post if there wasn't one with provided context by the time I actually have time to make one. I'm not going to go through the entire rabbit hole here. I'll just touch on the Black Griffin stuff briefly to provide context. I'll keep my personal thoughts in the comments." Then he links all the relevant videos and continues the post. "Relevant context I don't know where I can fit elsewhere. Black Griffin has been accused of grooming teenage girls, including his wife. I'm not sure what I would post to explain everything, so I'd honestly just suggest looking the name up on this sub." Shortly after the accusations came out, Saberspark was asked about them since he's friends with Griffin, and Saberspark defended him. Because of Saberspark's controversy with that, EmuEmi went to Brony Fandont, who's being run by 2 people I think, with their accusations about him essaying her. KP got involved and tacked the Saberspark allegations onto her DA Games video. The main video itself, Mr. Inter goes through a few different things in his video. He talks about Saberspark's response video and he talks how disrespectful KP's video was, but he also gives some context behind why KP would try targeting Saber in the first place aside from the allegations. He and his investigative team went through the timeline of the night that the second incident happened by going through AC Race Best vlogs of the day while taking time zones into account. He and his team actually went as far as looking at the moon in one of the videos for a rough estimate of the time. He also went through Saberspark's connection to another person who's been accused of being a creep. I believe he was accused of texting children. Mando Pony, who was making some really creepy comments about a girl named Michelle, a voice actor for My Little Pony, she was 13 at the time, who was hanging out with him and some other adult men at the time when he was making these comments. Mr. Inter was also in a call with the accuser, Amy, where Lazy Bet had interviewed her, where she went through all of Emu's past controversies for explanations before getting into the Saberspark allegations. I didn't get to finish that video as of me typing this. If I did, this post probably wouldn't be out until next week, but I linked the video and it has chapters, so you can jump around to whatever section you want to look at. I'm sure I'll have more to say if I ever get to finish the video. I started this draft at 2 p.m. and it's currently 7:15 p.m. I had to leave quite a few times and I kept getting distracted while I was trying to type this all out, so I'm sorry if I repeated some things or if I missed some things. I didn't have time to go through everything I said every single time I got lost. I'll very likely go through and make edits to this post after I actually have time to read it through. I probably provided way more context than I had to anyway. And then OP links a document which is also in the description of Mr. Inter's interview with EmuEmi. That's receipts for all of our controversies, basically. Trash Raccoon replies to the post by saying, "I'll watch the interview later once I relax enough from work, but great write-up, OP. Honestly, so many posts get taken down for understandable reasons. Just some context is too hard for people, it seems. I was honestly half tempted to make a proper context post myself at that point. Overall, the situation is just fucked. Very, very, very fucked. Saber is sketchy as hell with who his former associates were and are, but Emu is a whole other problematic beast in general, and there is still not enough solid evidence for me personally to believe Saber is guilty. However, at the same time, it's very gross to watch people claim she couldn't be assaulted because she slept around a lot, so she couldn't have been, which is disgusting." Happy Grump replies, "If anything, my biggest takeaway from at least the latter half of the video is that Saber is just a weird fucking dude, beyond the bounds of reasonably quirky." And Song Quick replies, "Same here. The fact he doesn't bring up hanging out with a group of peas who constantly joke about creeper fever and making disgusting jokes within earshot of a 13-year-old at Disney, as documented by the recorded video, is irresponsible at best and creepy at worst. In general, Saber does not seem to be a person who takes his responsibilities as a creator seriously, but until there is definitive proof anything did or didn't happen, it's impossible to confirm if he is innocent or not. I will be taking his word with a 5-foot pole for the time being, but I'm not fully trusting of Emu's word either. The least that can be hoped for is some new evidence that gives important context missing from the full story." Rosie Love also posts the interview on the r Saberspark subreddit, and Salt Fishing replies, "Yeah, sorry, I'm not buying a word she says. The fact that they bring up Chugga Conroy, whose accusations were blown out of all proportion, only makes it worse. Honestly, I hope Emily never gets any form of apology. She doesn't deserve one. Also, do we really want to trust the efforts of the same guy who made a video incorrectly denouncing animated PSAs, their messages, methods, and solutions in a fit of petty ignorance?" And Phantoms Don't Exist replies, "The fact Emmy said Chugga's response was just, 'I have autism' is fucking wild, because that's not what that response was. It showed that Lady Emily fucking lied and didn't tell Chugga no." Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko and Salsad. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.